Let's stop pretending. Trump is not just dangerous, he is unhinged. He is an agent of Russia, and he just proved it again. What happened with Trump, Vance, and Zelensky is disgraceful. And not just disgraceful, but straight up mafia-level intimidation tactics. These guys aren't leaders, they're bullies. Mob bosses without class, trying to shake down a country that's fighting for its own survival.
And that's terrifying. While people in Ukraine are dying, civilians, children, families, Trump had the gall to smirk and say this was going to make for great television, like it's some kind of reality show instead of a brutal, illegal invasion by Russia.
He has no humanity, no empathy, no grace. And the worst part, people who voted for him should be standing up saying enough is enough. But instead, they're doubling down. Because admitting they were wrong, it's just too hard.
But that's not how democracy works. Mistakes happen. Leaders let us down. But when you see a man who is a dictator in the making, you speak up. You don't dig your heels in and pretend it's fine.
Trump isn't just cozy with Russia. He's been their guy since the 80s. The KGB saw a useful idiot with too much money, no morals, and a desperate need for validation. They played him then, and they're playing him now. And this is the final stage of the game.
He's not just weak on Putin, he's on Putin's payroll in every way that matters.
And if you still don't think that Trump is a Russian mole, explain this. Why would he allow the Russian state media into the Oval Office?
Think about this. A journalist from Russia's state-owned news agency was given access inside the White House to cover Trump's meeting with Zelensky, while AP and Reuters, two of the most respected independent news agencies in the world, were locked out.
And get this, the White House tried to brush it off, claiming, oh, the Russian journalist wasn't authorized to be in the press pool. Really? Come on. This is the most secure building in the country. Nobody just sneaks into the Oval Office. What happened with Trump, Vance, and President Zelensky is a disgrace. And it proves something terrifying, that the United States cannot be trusted as an ally.
Trump and J.D. Vance humiliated the leader of a country that is fighting for its survival. They berated him, they told him to be grateful, and Trump even had the audacity to say that he made Zelensky a tough guy. Like this is some sort of reality show and not a war where people are dying.
He called Zelensky disrespectful for standing his ground.
Excuse me? Do you know what's disrespectful? Siding with a dictator who invades a sovereign nation, undermining Ukraine's fight for freedom. And the worst part? This isn't just Trump. A huge chunk of the US is either cheering this on or they're too distracted to care. That's how democracy dies. Not in one big explosion, but through betrayal, greed, and people looking the other way. Trump and his cronies just sent a message loud and clear. You cannot count on America. You cannot trust America because the people running the show would rather shake hands with a dictator than stand by their allies.
It's like we're watching a slow-moving coup.
This wasn't a negotiation. This was Trump trying to break Zelensky's will. He was trying to force Ukraine into a deal that only benefits Russia and Trump.
And let's talk about J.D. Vance for a second. This guy actually sat there and scolded Zelensky, demanding to know if he had said thank you enough times. Like Ukraine should bow down for scraps while their people are dying. It was ridiculous, patronizing, and a desperate attempt to make Zelensky look bad when he's the one showing more diplomacy than any of these so-called leaders in that room. Then Trump had the audacity to say, you're gambling with World War III.
I honestly felt that Trump was just waiting to mention World War III, and he was so excited to finally find his place to say it. Because we all know when Trump accuses someone else of doing something, you know that he has it on his mind.
And here's what people need to understand. Trump is parroting every single talking point of Vladimir Putin.
He's not just helping Putin take Ukraine, he's letting it happen because he has his own plans. Putin wants Europe, and Trump, he wants Canada.
Look at the pattern. Ukraine is rich in rare minerals. So is Canada. And Trump has made it very clear that he sees us as his next resource colony. He's openly talked about our energy, our land, and let's not forget his ridiculous claim that Canada wants to be part of the US.
This is a coordinated plan. Two wannabe dictators working in tandem. Putin takes Europe, Trump takes the Americas.
And with all this going on, Trump's out there pushing a deal that opens up Ukraine's mineral wealth to US corporations, but with zero security guarantees. No real support, just American businesses getting richer while Ukraine fights for its life. And do you think Donald Trump is actually going to honor those agreements? No, that's why he wouldn't put them in there in the first place.
And let's not forget that he's the one that negotiated our trade deal, and he's going back on it. So how could Zelensky possibly trust Trump when he can't even keep his own trade deal with his closest ally?
Trump has been slamming Canada with unfair trade policies, threatening our economy, while pretending he's tough on China and tough on Putin. Not to mention, he's a compulsive liar. He sat there and claimed that the US gave Ukraine $350 billion in aid. Well, that number is simply made up. The actual amount is nowhere near that. But that is what Trump does. He lies, and his MAGA followers lack the critical thinking to question anything he says. This is why the world needs to wake up. Because Trump isn't just bad at diplomacy, he is a direct threat to global security.
He is actively weakening democracies while cozying up to authoritarians.
So let's bring this home, because if you don't think that this affects Canada, you're wrong.
We've already seen what Trump has done in the short time he's been back in power. He's caused complete chaos with trade wars, economic bullying, tariffs that hurt Canadian and American business, and the constant never-ending talk of Canada being the 51st state. Let's not forget, he already said he wouldn't protect NATO allies, and he is already pushing for Russia to be put back in the G7. My opinion, the US should be kicked out.
And King Charles, he had a choice. He could have stood for democracy. He could have taken a stand against someone actively working against Western allies. But did he? No.
He is inviting the guy that is trying to annex one of his Commonwealth countries.
This is a man who's been accused by over 24 women, found liable for sexual abuse, and who bragged about it on tape. And he's getting an invitation to tea.
King Charles seems to have a habit of looking the other way when it comes to powerful men with predatory pasts. Let's not forget Prince Andrew, who was caught up in the Epstein scandal and paid millions to make the problem go away. And just when you thought Trump couldn't get any more predictable, he's now trying to distance himself from Pierre Poilievre.
Why, you ask? Because Poilievre is losing ground in the polls, and now Trump is trying to reset the narrative.
He said about Poilievre, I think his biggest problem is that he's not a MAGA guy. I mean, he's really not. He's not a Trump guy at all. Pierre, I just don't know. It's just not positive about me.
Oh, please. We all know how Trump operates. He says the opposite of the truth so people won't see what is actually happening.
Poilievre obviously told Trump to say this, just like his pal Wayne Gretzky did. Wayne cozied up to Trump and then got his feelings hurt when Canadians were upset. And then Trump had to send out a tweet saying that Gretzky is a good guy. Well, you know what, Wayne? We still have no respect for you.
And now Poilievre is pulling the same move. He's trying to act like he's not tied to Trump, hoping Canadians will forget who he really is.
So don't let Trump's little PR stunt fool you. He's not distancing himself from Poilievre. He's just trying to cover his tracks. And if we don't take this seriously, we're next.
We know how bleak this all sounds. It feels like we're watching democracy crumble in real time. It's exhausting and it's demoralizing. And it's also terrifying.
Canada is not powerless. We don't have to sit back and watch this happen.
Trump and his cronies, they want us to feel hopeless. They want us to feel small, like we can't fight back. And that's how authoritarianism wins. Not through strength, but by making good people feel like they don't have a choice.
But we do have a choice, and we do have power.
First, we need to wake people up. We cannot let Canadians sleepwalk into this. Because make no mistake, Trump is coming for Canada.
We need to talk to our friends, our family, our neighbors. If they don't see what's happening, help them see it. Share this video, share articles, and have the hard conversations.
Get out and vote. It's not enough just to complain online. We need to show up at the ballot box. The Conservatives are counting on apathy. I think the Ontario election showed it here, where only 45% got out and voted. So basically it's saying that 19% of Ontario gave Doug Ford his 4-year mandate. That is not good enough.
So talk to your kids, talk to your brothers, your sisters, your spouses, and tell them that they have to get out and vote, no matter which party they are voting for.
And we have to get out and support independent media. The right-wing machine, Fox News, Russian state media, far-right influencers, they are relentless in spreading propaganda, and we have to counter that. And finally, don't let them wear you down. That's what they want. They want you to feel tired. They want you to tune out. They want you to give up.
But we're Canadians. We don't roll over and we don't let bullies win. We've stood up to worse and we'll stand up to this.
So if you're watching this, don't just nod along, do something. Share this, speak up, push back, and remember, we are not alone.
The fight isn't over and we're not going anywhere.